Hi and very good morning to Dr. Ain. My name is Ao Jingru. Today my partner and I will present about latex phone Sendirian Berhad versus Ivory Grove Sendirian Berhad. The fact of this case is, on May 18, 2021, latex phone Sendirian Berhad plaintiff and Ivory Grove Sendirian Berhad defendant entered into a 19,800,000 contract for the supply, delivery, installation, testing and commissioning of 3 double former powder free growth dipping machine at the defendant factory. The plaintiff fulfilled nearly 95%, 70% and 60% progress for the first, second and third machine respectively, delivering most material for the first machine. However, the defendant paid only Rm7,460,000 and later proposed postponing the completion of the second and third machine due to reduced growth demand, which the plaintiff rejects. The plaintiff claims the defendant's branch of the agreement and seeks the remaining Rm12,340,000 interest of 1.5% per month from the filling debt and legal costs, while offering to complete the machine upon payment. Thank you.
Good morning to Dr. Ayin. My name is Btmi. Today I will continue present the issue and decision based on the case above. First, the court must decide the agency relationship, whether a third party acts as the defendant agent with actual, implied or apparent authority and how this affected contractual obligation. Second, the court must decide the breach of duty, whether the defendant directly or through an agent breach duty such as delay or partial payment. In conclusion, the decision hinges on whether an agency relationship existed, the scope of the agent authority, and if the defendant ratified unauthorized act. If the defendant disavows the agent authority, the plaintiff must prove relies on apparent authority. Thank you.
Hi and a very good morning to Dr. An and my fellow friends. I'm Joanne Kong. Today my partner and I will present about Cheng Han Guan and others versus Perumahan Paling Pinang Sendirian Berhad and others 1993 Malayan Law Journal 352. I'll present about the fact for the case. The plaintiff purchased residential units from Perumahan Paling Pinang Sendirian Berhad, which is the developers, under Sales and Purchase Agreement (SPAS), requiring the completion and handover of vacant unit within a stipulated time frame. Delay occurred due to the developer's inability to meet the deadline, and the plaintiff highlight construction defects and non-compliance with agreed specification. They show compensations for the deficiencies and liquidated damage for the delay. The developer invoked force majeure and Section 56 of the Contract Act 1950, arguing the delay was caused by unforeseen and uncontrollable circumstances, rendering complaints impossible. Conversely, the plaintiff agreeing the delay was foreseeable and violated Section 38, which mandate parties to fulfill their contractual obligations. All from me. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Al-Walid Khalid and today I'm going to present about the case law or our case law that has been provided. I'm going to start with the issues. The plaintiffs who had been occupying the land with significant modifications for a long time used proprietary estoppel to block Perumahan Farlim, the new owner, from evicting them because he planned to develop the proprietary. Okay, now we are going to move to the second part, which is the court decision. And there's three parts. We are going to talk about three things in this part, which is proprietary estoppel upheld. The plaintiffs established equitable stake by relaying promises on promises, making large investments and suffering harm. The court has decided that the plaintiffs' rights were sufficiently handled while unlodging their dependents, and indefinite occupancy is not guaranteed to plaintiffs. That's all for our presentation. Thank you so much for watching.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Amy Natasha, and for this case law, which is the Tan Chiu and another Eastern Mining and Metal Company, I will be explaining my part of this presentation, which is the facts of this case law, and I will be presenting while I'm getting ready to go out. So in this case, the appellant were appointed as agent by the Eastern Mining to negotiate agreements and conduct transactions, but however they exceeded their authority by entering into like contracts and making commitments that they were not explicitly authorized by the company. So this whole thing is like the company disputed actions, claiming they were unauthorized and not legally binding. But the appellants, they argued that their actions were aligned with the agency's relationship. So this raised the central question: did the appellants have actual implied or apparent authority to act as they did? So this whole dispute ultimately highlighted important legal issues concerning the scope of the agent's authority and its implication. So that is all for my presentation, the next part will be presented by my partner. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Norfatin Shaira binti Roslan. I'll be presenting the case issue and decision by court for Tan Che Chiu and Anor versus Eastern Mining and Metals Company Limited in 1979. In this case, there are three case issues, which is the first one, breach of contract, whether there was a valid contract between the parties, and if so, whether the respondents breached its terms. The second issue is negligence and duty for care, whether the respondents owed plaintiffs a duty of care and whether there was a breach of that duty leading to losses or damages. The third issue is damages and remedies, which is the court had to determine whether the plaintiffs were entitled to compensation and if so, the quantum of damages. The decision by court in this case is existence and breach of contract. Under Section 74 of the Contracts Act 1950, when the contract is breached, the injured party is entitled to compensation for losses or damages that naturally arise from the breach or were foreseeable at the time the contract was made. However, compensation is not granted for remote or indirect losses. In this case, the court determined that a valid contract existed between the parties, but the actions or inactions of Eastern Mining and Metals Company Limited amounted to a breach of its contractual obligation. The affected party is therefore entitled to compensation, but only for direct losses that naturally resulted from the breach, excluding remote or indirect damages.
Good morning everyone, this is Harith Irsyad bin Sazili.
This is Muhammad bin Akmal bin Aslan, bringing you the latest news.
In a recent judgment from the General Division of the High Court of Singapore, the case of Terms Advisor APAC Btmi Ltd versus Stepping Gold Ltd was decided, shedding light on several contractual issues.
Terms Advisors APAC Btmi Ltd, a corporate finance advisory firm, sought to enforce terms under amended letter against the defendants. Step Gold Ltd, a company involved in precious metals projects in Mongolia, the dispute centered around the entitlement to fees under amended letter, specifically a success fee and retainer fees.
This case delves into the complex world of project finance and development in emerging jurisdictions. Contracts are often overtaken by events as timelines, slip and circumstances change. The claimant sought to enforce contractual promises while the defendant presented a different narrative introducing breaches of gentlemen's agreement and conventions.
The claimant is a boutique corporate finance advisory firm based in Singapore, specializing in private credit and complex structured transactions. The defendant, incorporated in Ontario and listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange, operates precious metals projects in Mongolia, including the Elton Segon OVO property.
In 2017, the Mongolian government initiated the Good 2 program to support gold producers and assist in economic recovery. The defendant obtained a $10.5 million loan under this program for the expansion of the ATO mine. The finance further expansion, the defendant engaged the claimant as its equity finance advisor for $18 million debt financing.
The claimant sought summary judgment for the retainer fee and late payment interest, which was later withdrawn. The defendant sought further security for cost and temporary injunctions against the claimant, which were dismissed. The court decision highlighted the importance of clear contractual terms and the impossibility of oral agreement in modifying written contracts. That's all for now. Stay tuned for more updates on legal news.
Miss.
You first.
Okay, based on what you said, the defendants argue that if the company fully repay the debt, they should be released from their obligation as guarantors. Could you explain the court reasoning?
Thank you for the question. To answer that question, the court found that the defendants cannot escape their responsibility under the guarantee. They willingly entered into a settlement agreement that provided them with significant benefits, including the opportunities to sell their company shares and reduce their overall debt. By actively participating in and benefiting from this agreement, they are now stopped from claiming that the company's requirement should absolve them of their obligations. Did that answer your questions?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Miss.
You?
I want to ask, what were the key factors that led the court to grant summary judgment in favor of the plaintiff rather than proceeding to a full trial?
Okay, there are several factors contributed to a court decision. So, firstly, the plaintiff meticulously followed all the procedural requirements for summary judgment application. Secondly, the defendant failed to present any genuine tribal issue, so their argument were deemed insufficient to raise a serious doubt about the plaintiff claim. Finally, the defendant's own actions, such as entering into the settlement agreement and acknowledging their debt obligations, effectively prevented them from contesting the plaintiff claim. Thank you.